Boston, please make it loud for Josh Johnson!
I saw where the lottery, at least at the time that I'm speaking, has worked its way up to $1.8 billion. That's a lot. It's so much you wonder, should I?
Absolutely.
That's how they get you. You know, growing up my entire life, I knew people who played the lottery. And I don't know if I know any winners. I just know a few people went missing. And like hard missing too, not even a funeral. Like, I don't know, $1.8 billion. That means even after they tax you, tax is gonna take about half of that, right? Even after they tax you, you're probably gonna be a billionaire. Instantly. A billionaire. And I'm not saying this to like, you know, beat down on anybody or be disparaging, but it's like, who plays the lottery? People who need the money. So imagine needing money and then becoming a billionaire in like a day. A day. You needed 252. You had rent and a car note, and now you're a billionaire. A billionaire. You gotta capitalize the B. It's $1 billion. Even if they get you real good, even if they tax you to death, you're still high millionaire. And with some good investments, you'll hit billionaire over time. Look at. I don't think y'all understand. This is the thing, we think we understand what billion is because billionaires keep playing in our faces. But we have no comprehension of how much money that is because we're people. Forget like multiple, a billion. You can't even waste that, $1 billion. You can imagine, I had some bad investments. $1 billion's worth of bad investments? That's enough to topple a small country. No, because I look at the billionaires of the world and the high millionaires, so almost billionaires of the world. And in a couple of the examples that I'm thinking of, right? If you make it to billionaire status, whether it's through valuation of your country or your company, or you know, whether it's through valuation of your company or just general assets and everything over time, if you hit that billion status and you didn't grow up with a ton of money, like if you're already a billionaire, it almost doesn't count. You know, you'll see billionaires, they're the sons of billionaires, and they'll be like, I made my own thing. It's like, you didn't though. But you didn't. Like you never really did anything. Like it's, and look, I know you probably worked really hard, but your hard work had a $1 billion head start to it. So it's just, you know, you could make a bad idea worth $1 billion. If you put enough money behind it with enough time. Look at Crocs. And look, that's not me. No, look, that's not me just dunking on Crocs for the sake of it. I'm saying as a shoe, you are so unprepared to go into the world. Every time it rains, you kind of feel it. I've had so many fights with my friends over Crocs, and it's not about the Croc or the design or whatever. It's about the fact that it's a Swiss cheese shoe. The holes make it a shoe problem. It is not like okay, I live in New York, and we have Far too many. I don't even know the number. We have more, I believe, rats than people. I'm pretty sure there's probably 10 million for every 2 people in New York. And one time I was walking with my friend who had Crocs on. Ill-advised, especially in New York. If you want to wear Crocs in, like, I don't know, like a beachy town, go ahead. Yeah, be comfortable. Let your feet breathe. Wearing Crocs in New York City, wearing Crocs in New York City is like wearing a shirt that on the front and the back says, "Please rob me." That's the level of prepared you are to go out into New York City when you're in Crocs. My friend was in Crocs, and we were just walking down the street, okay? Just nice little stroll, having a conversation. And then, as you would expect when you are walking in New York, as it is almost law when you are walking in New York, a rat ran across our path. Some people have to deal with deers in the road. We have to deal with rats on the street. And this rat running across our path judged it wrong. Was a little late. You know, usually when you're walking in New York, a rat will run across you real fast up ahead. This rat must have had some hesitation. You could tell this rat was like, okay. You know what? I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. No. I'm not gonna do it. Actually, no. You know what? I can do this. I can do this. Let me get. Ah! And then it ran across our path, but by the time it ran across our path, we were at our path. And this is upsetting. Sorry if you're eating. But the rat ran across our path, but by the time it decided to cross the sidewalk, we were already there. So this rat ran right over both my feet. And then it came time to run over my friend's feet. My friend in Crocs. And this rat looked exactly like, you know, with football players doing that spring training with the tires over here. The rat was nimble at first. It got through 2 holes, no problem. 3rd hole, rat tripped. Animals don't trip like people. You know what I mean? People might trip, be a little embarrassed, but we get up and we know we have a day to continue. If a rat gets tripped up in your crock, that's the rat's whole priority right now. Because to be fair to rats, they get trapped all the time. How is this rat supposed to know this isn't one of those rat traps that take you to rat heaven? And so this rat starts freaking out, starts like trying to pull the other leg out and everything, but then the next leg gets stuck. And so now this rat is, it has been 0.0 seconds, by the way. This rat has already tripped and is stuck in 2 crock holes. And is over here fighting for his life to get out. Is doing whatever he can. This rat over here, And look, I'll be honest with you right now, I don't even know if I imagined it, but I swear I heard it. I heard where the rat got free because I heard the little pull the little foot out of the crock hole and then ran away. And then my friend, who had just been defending his Crocs, had the nerve to be like, I'm like, yeah, cut it off. You need to cut it off. Ran over my foot too, but look at me. Intact. No? And so you have even if it's not the company, the CEOs of these companies reach high million-dollar billionaire status. You know? And it happens usually over time. Usually, if you don't come from money, you reach billionaire status or high millionaire 20, 30 years of your life. And being a psycho as well, like working 80-hour weeks and like just doing crazy stuff. And sometimes you get to get ahead because you cut some corners or you cheat some people or whatever it is. But then when you turn around and you have this like multi-billion-dollar valuation, you did it. And it took all that time, but like you're, 30 years removed from when you started. These billionaires, these millionaires, the ones that don't come from like extreme wealth, takes 20, 30 years of your life to get that money. And look how evil they are. I can only imagine. I can only imagine what happens if you get it in a day. Look. For any amount of lottery winnings and for any amount of like money, when you dream about money, that's what we do. Someone's like, what would you do with $100 million? And you might even have a list already. What would you do? And you think you know what you would do. And I'm not even saying that people are lying when they say these things. I believe that people really believe this is what they would do with the money. But then you're a billionaire in a day. Nothing can prepare you for that. Nothing can prepare you for that much money being that much power in a day. I don't know, like, I know what I'd like to think I would do with that much money. Because the amount of money that you've been living on is the amount of money you need to live. Like that, like, I know that in the US, like in America, that's like blasphemous to say. But it's like, even when I was broke, the amount of money that I had, which was not enough, was somehow still enough because I'm not dead. You know what I mean? And so obviously people need to get by. People deserve a higher quality of life and everything. I'm not saying this to say that if you're barely scraping by, that's all you need and be done with it. I'm just saying that sometimes you can get in your head, especially when you get a little more, that you need a bit more, and then you need a bit more, and then you need a bit more, to the point where people around the country who make six figures say they don't feel rich, right? And some of them making the high six figures. They've done studies about this and about why your brain never turns to rich when it's you and it's over time. You'll see millionaires say, well, I'm comfortable, but I'm not like rich. And then you're glad that it's through a screen, or else you might. But I don't know. I mean, what would that do to a person? A day. A billionaire. Who knows? Maybe money really does change people in a way that you can't even fathom until you have that much money. Maybe you get $1 billion in a day, and out of nowhere, you don't even recognize yourself. $1 billion. And you're just like, wow. Huh. I could use some slaves. I think that... Look, I don't know what makes you so evil as a billionaire over 30 years, but I can only imagine it's exacerbated when it's overnight. Like, I can only imagine it becomes instant when you get the money instantly. That's crazy. Because, look, we all have a list. Even if you act like you don't, you do. If you want that much money overnight, You might have a list. There might only be 5 things on your list. Hey, I want to take care of my friends, take care of my family, want to travel, and I want to help in a way that I've been helping, but I didn't have the money to really push the help, right? So that's what, 4, maybe you have 5 things. But then after you do all that, maybe you have some money left over. What do you do with that money? Can you make another list? Can you make a bigger list? Maybe. But if you can't, you just keep trying. Oh, let's fix the roads. Let's try to fix the school system. But then there's still some money left over. What do? I think you might lose your mind. That's probably why billionaires are like that. Because think about it. Look, their list didn't have any of the stuff I mentioned on it. But even though it didn't, it clearly had things that they cared about, whatever those were. And maybe they were only related to their company. Maybe they were only related to more business and getting more money. But even as those things got checked off and you tried to keep up with a list, you tried to make more goals and you were meeting the goals as fast as you were making the goals and everything. And then everyone around you is a yes man because they want some access to that money because they're also trying to climb, right? And then you finally have gone down the list so hard that you're just like, maybe Mars? What about Mars? Mars would be cool, right? Like, Mars would be dope. Does people starve? Mars, though, that would be dope. And it's like, yes, it sounds dope. And I hope he goes. I hope he does. Like, that'd be fire. If he went to Mars. Spend your fortune as the richest man in the world to be the poorest man in the universe. Because I guarantee you spend your whole life and then you finally, let's say it finally happens, you have a voyage to Mars. And let's be as generous as possible. And let's say that like the rocket works, you already sent enough stuff there that it's not like quite the movie The Martian, but it is like that because you are going to be by yourself. No, I'm just, probably. And then you land in Mars, richest man in the world. Lands on Mars, gets out, is walking around and realizes that Mars is just like Arizona with some extra tent to it. Like, looking around like, oh, okay. Whoops. Because money is... We'd like to think that it's more than this, and sometimes it is. You can point to points in history where it is more than this, but like America is money. Land of opportunity. Opportunity is access, but it's also money. Money is how we define identity. Maybe you don't as a person. Maybe, I don't believe any one person is just their job or their net worth. There are things that you are that are deeper than all that stuff that's going to pass away. But that is how we as Americans define each other, is money. In fact, when you get your identity stolen, it's because they mess with the money. I don't know of anyone who said they got their identity stolen and it was in a Lifetime movie sort of way. I have yet to meet anybody who said they got their identity stolen and they know it was stolen because they came home and there was a dude who looked just like them hugging their wife. And they were like, honey, it's me. And then she was like, And then the imposter was like, don't listen to him, honey. It's me. Can't you tell? And like, hey, what are you doing in my house? And then the kids run in, and they run up to him. Hey, Dad, who's this stranger? What? Kids, it's me. And they're like, we don't know you. Our dad's been home all day. And then you have to fight with this dude, and then, there's somehow a gun in the house that nobody knew about, and Then y'all struggle, and then y'all are spinning, so then nobody knows anymore because y'all were wearing the same thing. Who's the real husband? Who's the fake husband? And you're you know, you just running around, grabbing the gun, knocking the gun out of each other's hands, and then, you know, there's some bounty commercials in the middle because this is a Lifetime movie. But then you pick up the gun and you're like, get out of my home, stay away from my family, right? And then the imposter goes, and then runs up to you and y'all hug one last time. The gun goes off and nobody can tell who was shot until what is it? Until the Nair commercial. You know, like Nair, that one, like... I've watched a lot of Lifetime with my mom and my aunt. And so then they come back from commercial and y'all are both backing up and you're like, somehow in a movie, whenever somebody has been shot and someone shot someone, they both react the same. I always find that very annoying. The person that pulled the trigger is like, but then the person who was shot is like, And then y'all back up. The gun falls. It falls in the middle. We don't need it anymore. One of you was shot. And everybody's backing up, and then you see some blood. You see blood, and then you see blood because y'all were hugging when it happened. So whoever got shot also bled on the other person. So it's been about 5 minutes and we still don't know who was shot. Very frustrating. And then finally, one of you goes, you'll always be my family. And the other one turns around and looks at you. And the wife and the kids go, Dad! And hug them. And then credits start rolling. The picture gets a little bit smaller because they got to roll the next movie right next to the other movie. So it's like it gets that little half-size thing where the credits are rolling, which actually sort of ruins the end of the movie in case there was any other note of anything that the director wanted. But anyway, and through the credits, through the little tiny half screen, you see the person hugging the family look up at the camera and go, and identity is never stolen that way. It's always stolen in relation to your bank account. No, because that's who you are. That's who you are to the bank, and that's who you are to any business entity is your money and the number that you are. You know. Now look, I would like to think that everybody knows that everyone's more than that, but that is how you break down. That's how you're calculated. You know what I mean? You're moved around as a number, and the numbers that make up the numbers you have are how people see you. You know? So when you get your identity stolen, it's not because they actually stole who you are. They stole who you are in a version of how people see you for your money. Having your identity stolen is terrifying because you don't know when you'll get out from under this. It's you. It's you. But the bank doesn't know that. You might as well show up to the bank like you just got home to see your wife and kids and there is an imposter next to the bank teller's booth right with you. Y'all might as well be shoulder to shoulder. Like, no, I'd like to make a deposit. No, I'd like to make a deposit. Because you also have to factor in what that money doesn't just do to the person, what it does to the people around them. Some of y'all may not remember this. I barely remembered it until I started just reading about people who had won the lottery and what usually happens. Because there's this myth that everyone that wins the lottery goes bankrupt and ruins their life. It's not actually true. It's about half. Which are better odds than winning the lottery. And the difference between the people who crash out and the people who do well are the decisions they make as soon as they win. And now it's almost down to a science. There are people who are financial advisors that seek out lottery winners to help them because they've done it for other lottery winners and stuff. But there was this one woman, it was crazy. This happened in the 90s. I think it was 1990, right? This woman was a server, and she got tipped a lottery ticket. And so she, put that lottery ticket in, and she won. She won $10 million. And then everyone around her turned. The people who were also on shift with her, they tried to sue her. Because I don't know if this is one of those restaurants where, sometimes you work as a server and everyone's tips are pooled together and then you split them at the end of the night. Or if it was just that they were saying that was their table. I don't know what all the lawsuits were, but I also know that the man who tipped her the ticket tried to sue her. Yeah. Her ex-husband even kidnapped her. And she had to shoot him in the chest. The chest is one of the wildest places to get shot. Because there's still some plausible deniability there, but you know where you were aiming. And then the IRS came for her, walls closing in all around money. Because people will do crazy things for money, and people will let the idea of money shape how they treat a person, Money is only second to people in the idea of something that's in front of you that means a bunch of different things. People can mean the whole range of emotions to you, but so can money. If someone won $10 million, if they won $1.8 billion, some people see that as money, but a lot of people see that as hope. They see it as power. They see it as like a salvation out of their problems. They see it as whatever your imagination can mold. Because there are some people that if you got given $1 billion right now, outright, there's so much good you do with it. And then there are other people that if you got $1 billion tonight, you'd be like, oh, I have some things to revisit. $1 billion. $1 billion means, you could buy everything around a person. You could buy everything around. Imagine for $1 billion, you could hire a private investigator to find your high school bully. All right. Because let's say they're not on, maybe they're not on social, not everybody is. And so you hire this private investigator to find your high school bully. And maybe this bully gave you like a really catchy, mean nickname, Maybe it was something that happened to you, something real bad. Maybe you got sick at school one day and maybe you didn't make it to the bathroom, right? And so he called you Wet Willie for 4 years, right? In this scenario, your name is Willie. And you hire this private investigator to track him down. Maybe his name's Travis, right? You find me Travis. And so then the private investigator says, hey, I found Travis. He's living in Connecticut, and he's married. And yeah, looks like they're pretty happy. And you're like, okay, this is good to know. And so with your money, you buy the house that's for sale next to Travis. You're moving in one day, and Travis and his wife are walking in to their home, and you're moving one of the boxes. Nothing in the box. You don't need to move. You can pay people to move for you, but and you're like, oh, hey. Travis? And he's like, oh, Willie, Will, wow, how have you been? wow, this is crazy. Are you? Yeah, I'm moving in. Right next to you. That's crazy. That's crazy. He's like, yeah, that is. Wow. This house has been on sale for months. And now it's, what a coincidence. And you're like, yeah, a coincidence. Yeah, that's what it is. And you see that not only do you have this nice house in front of you, but, ooh, Travis has a phenomenal house, you know? There's an HOA, so they're pretty similar, but overall, very big and very nice, you know? And right then, Travis's wife walks up, Susie. Susie walks up, and she's like, hey, babe. And then he's like, hey, Me and William went to high school together. This is my wife, Susie. And you're like, oh, hi. Nice to meet you. You shake her hand, and you're like, wow, this is crazy to just, you move to a new place, and you don't know, usually you don't know anybody, and now I got pals right next door. And Travis is like, yeah, this is wild, man. You should come over for dinner sometime. Come over for dinner. And you're like, oh, wow, how's tonight? And Travis, because this is the thing about bullying. A lot of bullies don't remember what they did. And even if they remember what they did, they remember it in the context of whatever they were going through. And so even if they were like a mean kid, they just remember being a mean kid because other stuff was happening. I don't know how often real bullies think about the fallout of their bullying and what it might have done to somebody present day, So maybe Travis is perfectly pleasant. Easy to believe. It's been a long time, And so he's like, yeah, I think... no. Okay, we do have a little date night tonight, but how about tomorrow? Tomorrow night, we should have dinner. You just come over to our place. We'll cook for you. And you're like, wow, yeah, Travis, it sounds great. All right, I'll see y'all later. You take your empty box. Walk into your new house with no furniture in it. But you don't need furniture. You're here for revenge. The type of revenge that only money can buy. And you're so excited, you don't even know if you can sleep. And so you lay on the floor of your brand new house. Because hate makes you comfortable. And then the next day comes, right? The next day comes, and you've had a private investigator on Travis for a while. You even had a private investigator on Susie. You already know her name. And so the next day, during the day, you go over to Susie's workplace. Susie works at a salon, right? And so you go over and you're like, hey, what? This is crazy. Wow. Susie, neighbors, and then I need a haircut? You do hair? Wow. You get Susie to give you a haircut, and when you're getting a haircut, when you're getting the wash, the shampoo, the conditioner, and everything, there's time to talk. You get to know a person. Or pretend to, because you already hired a private investigator. So you land in the sink and y'all are chatting it up, and you're a personable enough individual, so y'all are cackling back and forth. Then at the end, Susie puts the mirror in front of your face, and you're like, wow, a magician. Truly incredible. Thank you so much. And then you go to pay, and then you put a $10,000 tip on your haircut. Susie's floored. What? I can't accept this. You absolutely can. I haven't felt this good in years. You made me look like a new man. In fact, I don't know, like, I'm sorry, I never do this, but like, are you doing anything after work? And Susie's like, yeah, the dinner that we have. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's right. But, okay, I don't know, it looks like salon's closing up and everything. Dinner wasn't gonna be for a little while. I don't know, do you want to hang out for a little bit? We're gonna end up chatting anyway. Let's just chat. Let's just have a chat, and then, we'll head over to your place. And you're like, does that sound okay? And she's like, yeah, I guess so. It's fine. Yeah, I'll close up here. And then you're like, okay, yeah, hop in my car, right? And she hops in your car. It's very nice. It's ridiculous. It's whatever car is nice for the period we're in. So just imagine. Imagine the type of car, and it is that. And Susie's also impressed. She's like, wow, okay, you must have done very well for yourself. And you're like, yeah, I do all right. Because then, no matter what car it is, I assume it goes fast, right? And then he's like, actually, I know I'm new to the neighborhood and everything, but can I show you something? And she's like, yeah, sure, okay. And you drive. You end up driving to this like little patch of land that's off by the wayside, and there's a small little airfield there, and you park, and Susie's like, what is this? And you're like, oh yeah, I got a call, it was a text while you were doing my hair and everything, and there's just something I have to check out over here, so let's just walk through. And you walk through this little air hangar, and it's to your private jet. And she's like, wow, you have a jet? And you're like, yeah, I do. I mean, I guess it's a false alarm. There's nobody that needed anything. Yeah, nobody's even here. I tell you what. How about this? I know we're supposed to have dinner tonight at your place, but why don't we go to Paris? She's like, Paris? You're like, oh, I'm sorry, do you prefer Milan? We can go to Milan. What are you even saying right now? I'm like, oh, no, I'm just saying, we're supposed to get dinner. Let's have dinner. We can have dinner without Travis. And then she's like, oh. I don't know what to say. What is the tip? And then now he's invited. I'm married. No, I know. I don't know. Now? Yeah, now. Actually, you know what? And then the stairs. Wow, my heart is just skipping a beat. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go. And you're like, great. And so then you both hop on the jet and taxiing and everything. And just before takeoff, you send Travis an audio message of the entire thing. You add a little something at the end. You're like, this is from Wet Willie. Because now you have $1 billion, and you could be good or you could Because that is how bad things are now. We used to make fun of people that played the lottery, and now it seems like a sound fiscal decision. It sounds like a sound business plan to save a little money, put a little away, and buy some lottery tickets. Just... oh. It's either buy some lottery tickets or, you know. Lean in front of a BMW. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta lean in front of a BMW, coming at about, I don't know, slowing down, so hopefully about 12 miles per hour. You know what I mean? Enough to do some damage, but not quite kill you. You know what I mean? Like when you get hit, it's gonna make that sound. You're gonna hear some stuff. Some of that stuff's gonna be you, and some of it's gonna be the car. You might even lose consciousness for a second, but you will, you know, hopefully wake up and... There's some real technique to it, too. I don't know if you saw that video. There's a dude who you could tell he was too... you could tell he was too nervous. He shouldn't have done this. And not just because it's fraud. He shouldn't have done this because you could tell his heart wasn't in the grift. You know what I mean? His heart wasn't in it. Like, some people, the grift is who they are. They buy into the grift completely. When I was a little kid, my elementary school teacher got into a fender bender, right? And got in a fender bender with this dude and bumped him just enough to get a little bit of separation, but you could tell that she had hit him. And he immediately got out of his car, went into the trunk, pulled out a neck brace, and laid on the ground, right? Which, if you're gonna do that, just wear the neck brace the whole time. Then you'll even convince the person that, you know, I'm not gonna tell you how to grift, but... So if you're gonna do this, you gotta commit. You gotta know long before this BMW takes that turn at the intersection that this is what you're committed to do. And there's a video of this dude. This still cracks me up, right? Okay, so this dude is over here, and you can tell he wants to jump in front of the car. Maybe he has the whole insurance scam planned out and everything, can sue, whatever. You just gotta let a BMW hit you and hope it's not a rental. Yeah, it is. Oh, nothing would make you madder than getting hit by a broke person. And so then it's over here waiting, right? And like just from the CCTV, because this is how I watched it, right? Just from the CCTV and the clip, you can tell that there's some nervousness in the knees. Like the knees don't scream commitment. You know what I mean? Like they're not, his feet aren't amped to do it. They're not like hoppy feet. You know what I mean? Like this is like, ooh, I'm gonna do some fraud. Ooh, you about to get defrauded. Right? But he had more of a, oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right. And you could tell he was thinking too much about how he was gonna land. That's the problem. Because you gotta know, if you're gonna jump in front of a car, you gotta know, okay, am I gonna be mostly grill or mostly windshield? All right? Both have their drawbacks. All right? Now, grill will push you forward. It'll push you forward an amount that will make you look dead to a bystander. So that is a good way to go if you try to do this with witnesses, and witnesses who are not in cahoots with you, right? Windshield is very dramatic, right? Windshield is very theatrical. Usually when you see, they do a lot of windshields on like Law and Order SVU. That's usually, you know, like when somebody running from the cops and they can't seem to catch them. They give them just enough room for them to run out of the streets. For the cop who didn't feel like running to hit them with the cop car.
It's always very convenient when it's like 3 cops and then 2 of them run after a suspect and then one of them is like, oh, all right. And then sure enough, they're always there at the right time to just bow, right? Now, if you're gonna go windshield, just know that some glass could crack, okay? And it's worse if it doesn't. If the glass doesn't crack at all, you got hit by a big bullet, okay? But if the glass cracks and you roll over the glass and maybe you land on the side of the car, that also looks very bad. But depending on how you hit the windshield depends on how believable the hit is. Because when you get hit by the grill, you're just taking the hit, right? Just boom, boom. High risk of being hurt. Very high risk. Windshield looks a little bit more, oh no. Ooh, you got me. Oh, what will I do, right? Because you can't really control your body as it gets hit and it's on the windshield. So you hope you go over the windshield. That looks like a very bad hit. But if you stay on the windshield, it starts to look like your fault even if it wasn't. Like it's just, the optics aren't great. And if you slide off to the front, it looks like you didn't get hit fast at all. And so you see this dude, okay, all right. And then he goes for it. But not only did I see him in the clip, in the CCTV video, you know, like thinking about it too hard. The person in the BMW also saw him thinking about this very hard. And it didn't help that he chose to do this at an intersection, which means they were going to be slowing down anyway. And so then he finally goes to jump into the street, and they've already come to a short stop because they saw him coming. But look, he's already put a lot of thought into this. He will not be denied. And so even though the car is almost at a full stop, he goes, obviously the claim didn't go far. But you could do that, or you could play the lottery. You know what I mean?
Because I really do hope that the person or the people that win, like have a good life and do something well with it. There's so many scams now. Sometimes if the person's identity is known, that's actually what like ruins their life, because then there are scammers who will never meet this person, don't know this person, but then they will masquerade as them online, hitting up people around this person, trying to get whatever private information so that they can scam that other person, not even the lottery winner, you know? And it's why people have become more savvy. Now you have lottery winners all over the world, not just in the US, and not just for like the Powerball, Mega Millions, or any of that. Now you have lottery winners in the US show up with like a ski mask on. So many lottery winners look like they're there to rob the lottery. You know? And I don't know, I just look at the lottery as like maybe one of the best metaphors we have for how America is. You know, because you know, we all participate. That money is pooled together, and it is, and I don't mean in terms of ownership, I just mean in terms of how the money came to be there. It is all of our money. It is all of our money pooled together for 1 to like 6 people to have. In fact, sometimes you'll watch the lottery. You'll watch someone win and you'll be like, huh, wow, I worked at a company like that. That's crazy. Because some of what the lottery of trying to make it in America is like is luck.
We like to think it's hard work, because then that means everybody could do it. But it's not actually the case. I know people who have worked hard my entire life, and they were on a hamster wheel. They were on a treadmill, and they were just trying to keep up because somebody was pressing the speed up on the hamster wheel. That's what it feels like is happening to everybody right now. You know, you're doing your best, and the speed just keeps... And then, you know, some people are on a treadmill where the speed just keeps getting increased. Some people, look, to their credit, they have some golden handcuffs. Maybe they're doing a little bit better than everybody, but the margins that they live in are just as thin. And so they're on like a Stairmaster. They're up higher than the people on the treadmill, but, you know, they still run the risk of falling off at any given point. And so the other person's running as hard as they can. This person's stepping as high and as fast as they can. Because if they can skip a step, it's not going to keep them good forever, but it'll keep them level for a while. And so everybody's working as hard as they can. People who make six figures are still thinking, I don't really have enough to get by. That sounds crazy to anybody who's living off of less than 50K, somewhere where the standard of living, you need to be at like 80K. There are people scraping to get by. And so rather than just accepting that this gym sucks, people just keep going as hard as they can until they either their heart gives out or they end up in one of those like fail videos. Oh. Because look, it's $1 billion. It's a billion. That's a lot. And I know it's the lottery, and I'm just making an example. I'm not specifically speaking to everyone to like go run up to the lottery office or something. Like that's not what I'm trying to say. I think that we have let the lottery basically become one of the better ways to get ourselves out of a mess, you know? And it only gets you out of the mess. Maybe you can bring some people along with you. That's nice. That is nice. But you don't know everybody. You know what I mean? Like, you know your friends and your family, and that'd be very sweet for you to take care of your friends and your family, but you don't know everybody, and you don't know everybody's intentions. You don't know what everybody's going to do with the money. You don't even know if giving some of these people the money is the best thing to do. You have no idea. And maybe it's why, speaking outside the lottery now, maybe it's why like people shouldn't be able to amass that level of wealth. Not because I want to take from somebody the thing that they have for whatever reason. Maybe they really did earn it. I don't see how, but like maybe they really did earn it. Maybe they deserved every like $50 million bonus that they ever gave themselves, right? Maybe they know their heart and they know that they really deserve this money. But maybe you know, they laid off a bunch of people and they bought a bunch of stock back and they did some stuff to do some stuff to get some stuff, you know? And so I'm just saying is, you know, it's one thing when it's a lottery, it's a different thing when it's like our entire, you know, because then they wonder, I don't know. Then they wonder, they're like, why is everybody so mad at us? It's like, oh, you can't not really get it. It seems crazy. And look, don't get me wrong. I'm an American. I would love $1 billion. It's probably part of the problem. I've fallen down a very specific rabbit hole where basically I have been reading reviews like it's an addiction. I've been reading reviews from people from other countries. Okay, so they don't live in the US, but they come here from all over the world. And I have been reading their reviews of having Doritos for the first time. And y'all, I think we did crack again because Because when they come over here, it's people from France being like, I had one, my friend offered me one, and then when I looked down, I don't know how much time had passed, but there were 6 bags on the ground. And this is my thing, like, maybe what we are doing with Doritos is bad, you know what I mean? Because when you read the back of a bag of Doritos and you look at the ingredients, they all are words longer than what should be in food. If you read the back of a bag of Doritos, it looks like the recipe for meth, right? It's just a lot of propylene glycol sounding stuff and everything. So no wonder they come from around the world. They come from Europe, Asia. They get addicted and everything. It's sad to watch. It really is, because then they're in the review, they're like, I just ate so many and I couldn't stop. And then if you're reading it as an American, you're like, yeah. Like, this isn't exactly news or anything, you know? If anything, that's on you for getting 6 of the little bags. You should have got a family-size bag. You know what I mean? If it's just you eating by yourself, you get the family-size bag. It is fiscally irresponsible what you're doing right now. Just getting 6 bags of the little ones like you gonna stop or something. You can't control yourself. You're in it now. You know? And sometimes I see them. Sometimes I see them over. I'm like, you know him. You know him when you see him because you can check the fingers, right? You know? Let me see your hands. And you see the hands like addicted. What a shame. Because no other country lets their companies do to the people what we let the companies do to us as far as ingredients. Like, we're like, man, it's very good. It's so good. It is good. It's not good for you, and it does have a taste that should not be in a human mouth. And I can tell that because people who have been alive for a long time are like, I've been eating forever, and I've never eaten anything like this before. It's taken me to a place I don't know if I want to go to. And you're reading them and you're like, how is it this serious? But then you actually travel, because like I've traveled around the world and stuff, and I've been to some of these countries that talk about the Doritos, and I can tell they're going to get addicted, because when I go there and I eat their food, I'm like, yeah, y'all missing quite a few flavors. Your palate isn't ready. And you can tell that because you'll go to like the Netherlands or something like that, and they'll be like, oh no, don't eat what we make. Go to like a Turkish restaurant or something. If you eat what we make, you'll die. Like, don't do it. We make cardboard over here. Your stomach not ready for what we do over here. We just boil the water and eat it. Like, you know, but I was reading, there was one dude from Poland who was like, I don't know what to do with myself. He said, I'm reading it, I don't know what to do with myself. I've had every flavor multiple times. A friend gave me some at a party. They always started like that too. Like a friend gave me some while I was at a party. They started with that peer pressure type stuff. And that's how you can tell it's drugs for them. They're like, my friend introduced me to Doritos. I was young and innocent. Now I've been running up and down town trying different flavors and stuff. And this dude from Poland was basically, this is like on a Reddit post, and this dude was pretty much admitting that he was extending his stay in the States to spend more time with Doritos. He's like admitting to the open internet that he is overstaying his visa to eat as many Doritos as possible. He is risking ever being able to return to the country. I live in New York, and sometimes I'm walking down the street. Sometimes I walk from show to show instead of taking the train and stuff. And I was walking from one show to the other, and I was passing this bodega. And outside the bodega was a dude that was over here like, you know, just standing there, doing one of these and everything. And I don't know, I've lived in some bad neighborhoods, all right? And when you see this, you know their day isn't going well, right? This right here, if you walk up on somebody and they're doing this, you about to be asked for a favor, right? Like, these are not the movements of someone that's just gonna wish you a good day, right? Like, you're about to hear a story when you see this. And so I'm walking by, and as I walk by, he's like, excuse me, sir. I was like, oh, that's different. What's up? How you doing? He's like, oh, I was just wondering if you could spare a dollar or two so I could get something to eat in there. And then I had a $5 bill in my pocket, so I handed it to him. He's like, oh, thank you so much. And to get some Doritos. It's like, I'm an enabler. I've been very excited to come to Dallas and spend time with you, make you laugh and everything. I love coming here because I grew up in Louisiana, and so we would come to Dallas a lot. Yeah, didn't tell you which part. And I would visit, Dallas sometimes growing up and stuff, and the thing that we're known for in Louisiana and in Texas is just amazing food. Right? Things that will change your life, things that you won't forget, amazing meals of every type, Like we're known in Louisiana for a lot of the Creole stuff, jambalaya and gumbo, everything like that. And then in Texas is a lot of the barbecue, a lot of good meats and everything. And then you see people in other parts of the country that will start a whole restaurant pretending to do what y'all do here, right? Like pretending to be the same. And then you'll go there. You might even walk into a real Texas barbecue restaurant in Pennsylvania. And you're nice, you're cordial, because you're good people. And you sit down and you have a couple bites, and then you're like, no. No. That was good. You tricked me. You got me to come in. That's good. I like what you did there. It's because you got the font right. You got the font on the... That's what got me. You got the print right on the awning. And, ooh, okay. Because this isn't Texas toast. This is fat bread. You did fat bread. You didn't do any... Oh, you won't get me again, but that's nice. That's nice. Gotta give it to you. Wow. And that's the thing. Is that sometimes, you have food that people really believe in, but it is bad. It's just not good. Belief doesn't make a meal, right? And especially when I look online, it feels sometimes like we're lost, And I can tell that we're lost just because of what I see happening nonstop. Also online, because you have a forum, because people can comment, I see people say some of the most beautiful things and some of the most hateful things to each other that we know people wouldn't have the courage to say in person, right? Sometimes you're in person and maybe you want to tell someone how great you think they are, but you're worried about being embarrassed, so you keep it in or you just give them a thumbs up, whatever the thing is, right? But online, if you're never going to meet this person, you can really let them have it, one way or the other, good or bad, right? And so I've seen some really hateful comments that I know people wouldn't say if they were in person with the person, right? And when it comes to cooking TikToks, I think some of this hate doesn't go far enough. I think that it's important to really let the people know. You know what I mean? Because you watching whole nasty recipes be made and then people just commenting the vomit emoji. It's like, no. We need to get into their personality. We need to get into their upbringing. We need to get into why they thought this was a good idea. Because they love to do it. They love to make nasty food and then film themselves. No shame. Film themselves making the nasty food that should be illegal. The police should be kicking the door open as we speak. And not only did you not keep this a secret, you filmed it. You did an edit, and then you put it out for the world to see. You self-incriminated for no reason. And all this nasty food is somehow world famous, or it's Nana's. Stop putting bad food on your Nana. Don't do that. You know she didn't bring you up like that to be making this slop. You know that grandma is turning her grave right now, knowing that you're putting stuff like that on her name, because then the recipes don't make sense. They're like, you could use half a cup of sugar or salt, whichever. And it's like, that's a lunatic. That's an actual terrorist right there. That's wild that you're just telling people that. Why do you believe that? It's upsetting because then, back in the day, this is what I'm told by my mom. This is what I was told by my grandma. Back in the day, if you had a recipe that was nasty, you couldn't just broadcast it to the world like that, the way the open internet has allowed us to. You had to poison people one at a time. You had to invite them over to your home. You had to say, come on, no, let me cook for you. And then you had to sit them down. And then they had to smell what was happening and decide to stay. It was a lot that went into feeding bad food to people back in the day. And then maybe if you got famous enough, you could have a cookbook. And then one of the cookbooks, maybe you falling off and nobody knows yet because they didn't make it themselves. But now, you see people, and the videos look good. Ingredients popping up on the screen, and then they pop off, and then they're chopped. And it's a beautiful thing to watch. But then you see them take a bite of it, and you can tell it's nasty because they only take one bite, and then the video ends. They don't serve it to anybody. Because you've been invited to someone's house that thought they could cook but couldn't. And then you took a bite. You're a good person. So you go ahead and you take a bite, and when you take that first bite, okay, I'm gonna have to get rid of this. I'm gonna have to figure out a way. If there's a dog nearby, but I'm not gonna swallow. No, you're not gonna get me. You take that first bite, and they're like, how you like it? Oh, you can tell you made something nasty if somebody take a bite and then can I be excused real quick? Where's your bathroom at? They just in that bathroom sweating, just like, what am I gonna do? It's a full plate. Oh, it's really horrible what people have done to each other. You know what I mean? It's just with a straight face, too. And now you got people broadcasting. Come with me while I make my Nana's world-famous mayonnaise grapes or whatever. And they don't even know there's anything wrong with it because, once again, they weren't brought up with sense. The amount of times I've been brought over to someone's house, and look, if anyone goes to the trouble of cooking for me, I appreciate it. You took your money, you bought the ingredients, and maybe you messed it up, all right? Maybe that's what happened, but I still appreciate the effort, right? As long as I don't have to finish it, Because the amount of times I've been invited to someone's house and been fed shepherd's pie. You can tell from your groans. Shepherd's pie is already on the line. Shepherd's pie is crip walking a tightrope of nasty, right? One false step and shepherd's pie has fallen into slop, all right? You can't just do whatever you want with shepherd's pie and make it delicious. That's not how the world works. And I have been fed shepherd's pies that make you go, maybe I don't know how to eat. Maybe I'm the one. You know what I mean? Because I'll bite into a shepherd's pie and they'll be like, what just cut my mouth? Because that's what I hate. If you invite me over, at least know you cook what you cooked. Know you can do the thing that you said you... Don't invite me over and then be like, I just went ahead and threw out the cookbook on this one and just went with the flow. Not with my mouth. The amount of shepherd's pies I've had where I've been like, all right, how good of a friend are they? One time I got invited to a friend's house and he made shepherd's pie and he put he plated us, right? Gave us the bowls of shepherd's pie or whatever and then fed the dog at the same time. And the bowls looked the same, right? And so I was like, what did you do for this to look like this? There's shepherd's pie and then look, I'm gonna lose some of you, but we have to talk about it, all right? I've been invited to friends' houses before where they have served. I won't even say served. They subjected me to their version of pot pie. Pot pie is unacceptable, all right? Pot pie is absolutely insane. First of all, I knew I didn't have money growing up when my mom would take us to Walmart and we would go to the frozen section and she would grab that banquet pot pie, right? That red box of pot pie. In the only condition where a pot pie looks good is that picture. When they pull it out the oven and they do the slit and the steam coming up. And you don't even see, you see the steam and you see the crust of the pie. You don't see the slop that's happening below. You don't see the insanity that's having that hot sludge with peas and carrots and supposedly chicken. You're not seeing any of that. That's not chicken. I know chicken. Me and chickens are tight, right? I know chickens back and forth, left and right, and that is not chicken, okay? That's not chicken at all. I don't know what it is exactly, but it doesn't have the consistency. That's not chicken at all. Sitting there with a pot pie. Pot pie is disgusting, okay? I remember the first time my mama fed me a pot pie. Went, got it, put it in the oven, was telling me about it. Oh, I think you'll like it, everything. And then, she pulls it out of the oven. I remember my first bite of pot pie. I looked at my mama and said, Mama, I'm gonna work so we don't have to live like this. Like this, Mama, I'm gonna change our lives, okay? It won't be like this forever, all right? Because I know you doing your best. Pot pie, the hot sludge that is under the crust of pot pie. And then I had a friend try to argue with me about pot pie. He was like, no, the crust is the best part. Ooh, okay. Wait, if you think crust is the best part of the pot pie, I got good news for you. If you love the crust of a pot pie, I got a good word for you today. There's something called bread, all right? Oh, if you love the crust of a pot pie, wait until you meet bread. Bread, when bread comes into your life, it's gonna change. If you love the crust of a pot pie so much you're willing to endure a pot pie, then get ready to meet toast. You can have dry, crusty, delicious bread that has nothing to do with purple Greek sludge, whatever. Because that's the other thing. It's people's version of pot pie. So I've had pot pies that were just like the standard peas and carrots and chicken or a little bit of beef or whatever. But I've also had ones where they were like, I threw a little goat's cheese in there. I did. This is not up to interpretation. This thing is nasty through and through. Pot pie. Pot pie. Pot pie is white slave food, all right? This is the food of subjugation. This is the food of fiefdom, all right? Pot pie makes sense if this is the 1600s. We don't have to do this. We are Americans. People fly from around the world and overstay their visas to eat our crack Doritos. I've been watching so much news, which is depressing. It's like they don't tell you about the good stuff. You gotta go find the good stuff on your own. It does feel like, I'm not gonna speak for anybody here, but it feels like, for the most part, I think I feel the way a lot of people feel, which is a sort of disillusion with some of even the process of politics, because we've become accustomed, because we have more access to information than we've ever had, and because we at least see ourselves as more discerning than we've ever been. We feel like we can tell when someone is lying, right? And we've all known and accept that politicians lie. It's to the point now where we don't even really judge who we vote for off of who lied the most. We judge it off of like how many people accidentally told the truth. You know what I mean? Like you look down the ticket and you're like, he got caught in that hot mic. I like that. That was a good one. You know? And I get it. It sucks not just to be lied to, but when you're lied to, you know, and when you figure it out, you see the manipulation that was at play. And if someone's trying to manipulate you, they don't respect you. They don't care about you. You know what I mean? Even when they say they're doing it for your own good, it's like some of the things, let me decide, right? So we don't like when our politicians lie to us, but I don't know if we really want them to tell the truth either. Imagine a local politician, or maybe your country's representative coming to you and just being like, no, it's bad. I don't think we can recover. This is beyond repair. Doesn't feel great because that sounds very true. I hope you're lying. Some people, offer up the truth even when they don't need to. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's a noble thing, and sometimes it's a very dumb thing. Sometimes it's just an odd thing. Like RFK told the truth this week about... I'll back up. In New York City, in Central Park, in 2014, there was a bear that was found in Central Park. They're not native. There was a bear that was found in Central Park next to a bicycle, right? And no one understood what happened. The police looked into it. The police couldn't figure it out. The internet sleuths couldn't put anything together. It was a genuine mystery, a decades-long mystery up until this week. When RFK Jr., for no reason, told the world, y'all, that was me. That was, I did do that one. So, RFK, as he tells the story, apparently him and his friends were going falconing. I don't know what falconing is. All I know is you took the word falcon and you made it a verb, right? I don't know if falconing means you hunt falcons or that you use falcons to hunt or you just talk to falcons. I don't know what y'all doing out there, but you put ing behind it so I know it involves the falcons, right? And RFK Jr. was on his way to go falconing, and he's on his way, and then he stops in the road because the person in front of him stopped because the woman in the car in front of him had hit a bear and killed it, right? And so RFK gets out and sees that she's killed this bear, and he's like, I'll take it. Which is interesting, right? That's probably one of the last things I would have guessed you'd say when you see a dead bear. And so he takes it, he puts it in his car, and then he goes falconing with his friends, and they're having a good time. I know we're talking about RFK, but for a split second, I want to focus on the woman that was driving, right? Because there are a few shocks that she had to get over within her day. One, you're driving. You're just a woman in the world living your life, and you're driving, and then something runs out on the road in front of you, and you hit it, right? And that is a car accident. Like, we can't forget, this person was in a car accident. Like, I hope she didn't have any injuries or anything. And just a near miss alone can be shocking. It can rattle you for like days or a long time. Depends on what happened. And so she hits this thing and has to get over the initial shock of almost being in what could have been a very bad car accident. And then she gets out and she's like, what did I hit? Was it a deer or something? It wasn't a deer. It was a bear, which is specific. I don't know anyone else it's happened to. And so you get out of the car and you're standing over this bear that you've just hit, and you're also, wow, I was almost in an accident, so I'm shocked, my heart is racing, it's sad, I've just killed this animal. And then RFK Jr. walks up to the other side of your car and stands over the bear with you and goes, I'll take it. Like you were selling it at a yard sale. And so RFK Jr. went falconing with his friends, and they were falconing for a while, apparently. According to him, they were having a great time. So I don't know if the birds were extra talkative that day, or I don't know what was happening. But they were like, you a falcon, you a falcon, you a falcon. And then the falcons, I guess, were like, blah, 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 like I don't know what noise they do. I don't know what they do. But, you know, he's over here falconing. And then they go to dinner, right? Where I'm sure they ate a different type of meat. And he's talking to his friends because the reason he took the bear was to skin it and eat the meat, which I didn't know was an option. I didn't know that bears were running around just big-ass chickens. I had no idea. And so, you know, he's talking to his friends and he's having a great time at dinner, and then he realizes, I actually have a flight. I can't keep this bear in my car. And apparently throughout the entire meal, when he's talking to his friends about the bear being in his car, no one went, what? That never happened. Didn't occur at all. And maybe that's just how they roll as friends. Maybe RFK had a bear in the back and his friend was like, I got 2 giraffes. Like, and you know what it's like when you get 2 giraffes in the back of your car, they get all knotted up and everything. You gotta take them home and then unwrap them like some headphone cords, you know? And so then RFK decides that, you know, he obviously can't keep the bear in his car, and he has a flight and everything, and I guess no one else wanted the bear. And so he went to Central Park, and as a joke, this was like a prank that he was doing, he left the bear with a bicycle that he also had to get rid of. I don't know how big his vehicle is. How big is your vehicle that you got a bear in there and you have a bicycle at the same time? So then he leaves the bear and the bicycle in Central Park and then goes and has his flight and goes wherever. And the next day, no one really got the joke. Like, no one really... The next day, everyone was mostly confused. They were like, so... did someone hit the bear with a bike? Or was the bear riding a bike and then decided to die? Like, was the bear on a bike and then was like, this ain't for me? You know what I mean? And so no one knew, no one put it together, no one solved the mystery until now, because RFK Jr. came clean. Because he was the only one that knew. The other reason that no one solved it until now is that the woman who, let's go back to her for just a quick second. I think the woman that hit the bear and then gave it to RFK or let him take it and then went about her life, you know, she also didn't come forward, because I think the next day when she turned on the news and saw the bear in Central... she had to have been like, nah. There's no way. I like to think that from her perspective, she hits the bear, RFK takes it, she goes about her life, but then the next day, she thinks that RFK thought that he needed to make it look like an accident. Like...
Mira, 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 mira.